You are listening to the Why Smart Women podcast, the podcast that helps smart women work out why we repeatedly make the wrong decisions and how to make better ones. From relationships, career choices, finances, to faux fur jackets and kale smoothies. Every moment of every day, we're making decisions. Let's make them good ones. I'm your host, Annie McCubbin, and as a woman of a certain age, I've made my own share of really bad decisions. Not my husband. I don't mean him, though. I did go through some shockers to find him. And I wish this podcast had been around to save me from myself. This podcast will give you insights into the working of your own brain, which will blow your mind. I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which I'm recording and you are listening on this day. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. Well, hello, smart women. For the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be playing 3 chapters a week of my audiobook from Why Smart Women Make Bad Decisions and How Critical Thinking Can Protect Them. So if you find yourself listening in and you're up to chapter 4, by all means, wind it back, go back to chapter 1 because it's a narrative and it has a very strong narrative arc. Hope you enjoy it. See you on the other side. Bye. Chapter 9. Cat Goes Away for the Weekend. You have been invited on a weekend away. Your best friend Amy suggested it would be good for you to have a break.
Stop moping around after that pathetic skinny hipster,
She'd said. She has another new boyfriend. She collects them like stamps. This one's from her work. His name is Manveer. Manveer is inviting some of his friends. You haven't met them, but according to Amy, he's really cool. You should come. Your imagination endows Manveer's friends with good looks, jeeps and fair old jumpers. You'll be drinking red wine in front of a roaring open fire and kicking around autumn leaves. You can post it on Instagram. Your mother will see it. You could be engaged to one of his friends by Christmas. After berating yourself for engaging in such a traditional, non-feminist view of yourself, you agree to attend the weekend away. Now Amy is outside, honking. You look out the window and wave. She's double-parked in her 1997 Camry. You pick up your bag, admire your hair in the hall mirror, throw a kiss to the cat, call up to Mrs. Hume that you're leaving, and run down the stairs to the car. You're still carrying that extra 2.75 kilos, but yours is a busy, active life filled with friends and weekends away. Who needs the hipster? You arrive at the house. It is dusk, and it is picture book pretty, surrounded by flame-red maples and dogwoods. You are enchanted. You enter the house and Manveer, the new boyfriend, is standing in the entrance to the lounge room looking at his phone. He's very tall and exceedingly skinny.
This is Kat,
Says Amy. She stands on her toes, kisses him on the cheek and heads up the stairs. You're left standing there.
Hi, Manveer.
You say.
Hi, Kat.
Says Manveer.
Welcome to the ranch.
He's looking at you so directly it unnerves you.
How was the drive down?
You ask. Amy had driven her Camry like a Maserati.
Very nice, very nice. It's good they've had some rain.
Manveer strikes you as an IT consultant.
Yes, it's been very dry.
You say.
Anyway, I'll just go and find myself a bed.
All the good ones are gone, unfortunately.
He says. You avoid contact with IT as much as possible at work. You're now stuck with one of their contingent for the weekend.
Are you a runner?
Says Manveer.
I'm sorry?
A runner. Are you a runner?
No.
If you want to run tomorrow, I am doing a 20k at 5 a.m. I'm in prep for the half marathon.
Right, no, I'm not a runner.
Well, if you change your mind,
He says.
I have an extra headlamp.
Right.
You say.
Well, I'll just nip upstairs.
You walk upstairs and down the small hall past Amy perched on the edge of a large, comfortable queen-size bed. You arrive at the last remaining bedroom. It's the size of a closet with a monk-like bed. There is a cross on the wall. You sit on the bed and resist the urge to kneel and pray. You turn on the bedside lamp, look around you, pull your book out of your bag and hold the cover to your cheek. The first tendrils of worry that coming was a mistake curl up from your chest. You feel homesick. You miss the hipster. You miss the cat. You're missing Mrs. Hume's weekly neighbour dinner, They'll soon be sitting down to Croatian chicken soup while Mr. Kovacic launches into number 7 of his Morse code tutorials. Last week, during tutorial number 6, you'd all had to practice tapping out what to say if an enemy were approaching. Nika tapped out, "Evacuate, evacuate, women and children first." Mr. Kovacic shook his head.
Why you evacuate? You on Titanic, Nika?
Nika had rolled her eyes. You'd successfully tapped out, "The enemy is near. Lie still and keep your eyes shut."
Why keep eyes shut?
Mr. Kovacic had demanded.
Because when you're under the bed, you don't want to see their boots walking past the door.
You'd said.
It would make you panic.
Why they boots walking past door?
Asked Mr. Kovacic.
They ain't plain.
You'd realised at this point you may have had differing interpretations of what the enemy approaching actually meant. Mrs. Hume had tapped out, "Bring bandages and waiter," instead of water.
Why you want waiter?
Asked Mr. Kovacic, his eyes narrowing. He pounced on mistakes like a jaguar on its prey.
You in restaurant eating soup when enemy approach?
Mrs. Hume had been unfazed.
Yes, I meant waiter.
She said, neatly slicing into the Bakewell tart and handing him a plate.
There has already been shelling, and the waiter had shrapnel in his leg, and I was going to bandage it.
Mr. Kovacic had reached over to take his plate. There was a moment where they both held one side of the plate each. A look passed between them, then Mr. Kovacic broke into a wide smile.
You should have been spy,
he said.
You good liar.
Lucy Hume,
said Mrs. Hume.
Agent 006.
You had loved them all so intensely at that point. You had rashly invited them all to Christmas in your flat. You have a photo of their delighted response, including Mr. Kovacic waving one of Big Pussy's paws. You are sitting on your bed, running your fingers over the group photo on your phone, when Amy enters fresh from her large, cavernous bedroom. She looks around you and sits on your tiny monk bed, snapping you out of your daydream. What is wrong with you? You're away on a trip. Why are you sitting here stroking a picture of the cat and your mostly elderly neighbours? Also, your mother will not be happy when you tell her you aren't coming home for Christmas.
"This is cosy,"
she says.
"So, let's get the food out of the car."
You open your mouth to reply, and at this moment the room is plunged into darkness. You try the switch on your bedside lamp a couple of times. Nothing. You move to the wall, find the wall switch. Nothing. Manveer calls from downstairs.
Amy, the lights are out.
"Yeah, Manveer, I know."
She calls back.
Where's the fuse box?
He calls.
"I don't know. I just arrived."
Where's the instruction manual to the house?
Amy sighs.
"I don't know, Manveer. I've just arrived. You got here before me."
The last rays of crepuscular light have deserted the room. You can dimly see Amy rise from the bed and move to the door.
Well, I can't fix it if I don't know where it is.
He calls up. Another male voice floats up from downstairs.
"Why are you all in the dark?"
We don't want to be, man.
Says Manveer.
We've blown a fuse.
"Where's the fuse box?"
Says the voice. You wonder if praying will help.
We don't know.
You call. Your testy tone is new and interesting to your ears.
"Who's that?"
Asks the voice from downstairs.
It's Kat. Who's that?
"Cat Kendall."
Kat Mitchell.
"Oh.
He sounds disappointed.
Hi, Cat. I'm Kyle."
He's probably another IT consultant. Your longing to be safe back in the neighbour dinner kicks you in the chest.
"Let's go and sort them out."
Says Amy. You tut complicitly and follow Amy down the hallway. The darkness is country darkness. Dense. You make your way downstairs by the light of your phones. Manveer and Kyle are creeping around the lounge room like thieves in a darkened museum, the beams from their phones in front of them. You stand in the doorway for a minute or so.
"Well,"
says Amy, her voice primly bright.
"if we can't find the house manual, we should probably just go outside and look for the fuse box."
I'll just ring the owner.
Says Manveer.
Get someone to come.
He dials. They all stand looking at him.
No answer.
He says. There is a pause.
"Oh, well then,"
says Amy.
"Kat and I will go and look for the fuse box."
It's so obviously a threat, you wait for Manveer to counter her.
Okay, thanks, Amy. I'll try ringing her again. Oh, the headlights are near the front door.
Says Manveer. Amy doesn't move, however. You can see her face, lit by her phone, staring at Manveer.
Would you like us to collect some wood for the fire while we're at it?
Says Amy. Clearly, she is as unenthusiastic about going outside into the pitch-black spider-infested yard as you are. Manveer shines the light of his phone towards the fireplace.
No need, babe. It's a gas fire.
He says, "This is your problem with IT people. They're so literal."
Hey, Kyle, have you seen this?
Manveer has moved on from the fuse box discussion and has positioned his phone close to Kyle's face. All you can see in the darkened room is faces bathed in its light.
Oh, he's amazing.
Says Kyle.
Have you seen this? He's Kenyan. They reckon he's the next Kipchoge.
You glance sideways at Amy. She's still standing in the same position, staring at Kyle. You follow her gaze. She seems to be playing the, "if I stand here staring at you long enough, you'll figure out I'm not happy" game. You want to tell her it's futile. You tried the stare off into the middle distance looking sad and faintly troubled game for 13 months, 2 weeks and 6 days, and the hipster still left.
Come on, Kat.
She says loudly, grabbing you too hard by the forearm.
Let's go and find the fuse box.
You try to pull back from her. You are appalled. It's freezing outside and you loathe spiders. You want to tell Amy to drop the charade and just ask him to go outside. The hipster blamed you for the missing TV remote for your entire relationship. He never knew it was him who left it places, notably once in the fridge where he'd gone to get a beer, because you never told him. You just returned it to the coffee table and hoped he'd work it out. He hadn't.
Come on, Kat.
She's digging her nails into your arm. You relent, shake free from her grip.
Okay, I'm coming.
You virtually yell. You're like characters in a pantomime for 5-year-olds giving tips on the plot to their small, underdeveloped brains. You turn on your phone's torch as Amy ushers you out the front door. You're wearing sandals. The dew has arrived with speedy efficiency and the wet grass is finding its way into your sandals. Amy is stomping ahead of you, furiously brushing branches aside. You are now at the side of the house. Something brushes your face. You scream. It's a spider, you know it. Amy swivels, turns back to you and shines her phone in your face.
They won't hurt you, Kat. They're harmless.
She says.
You got a degree in arachnology now, Amy.
You say. You have always admired people who use sarcasm well. You are not in their ranks.
Just come on, Kat. It's freezing.
You look at Amy's retreating back. You adore Amy in a controlled city setting. She's fun in a bar after 3 vodkas, but as soon as she gets a whiff of the country, she morphs into this disappointed, outward-bound team leader. Why did you agree to go away with her? You are passing the lounge room window. You look in. Kyle and Manveer have now moved to the couch and they're looking at their phones. Their heads look incorporeal, hovering above the glow. At intervals, they reach into an invisible bag, then their hands travel to their mouths. Though indistinct, you hear Manveer say,
Man, seriously, I'm doing the New York.
You touch the window plaintively with your hand. You are the little match girl. They the modern-day landed gentry. Open fires and roasted meats replaced by the blue light of technology and chips.
Why am I going out with him?
Says Amy from behind you. You are personally mystified but are hoping this is rhetorical.
I mean, seriously, what is wrong with me? You know I can't run for the bus.
It's a good question. What is wrong with her?
I guess you'll get fit.
You say.
He's actually really nice.
She says.
I'm sure he is.
Don't be like that.
She says.
Like what?
Not liking him.
I like him.
You say.
He's great when he's not talking about running.
She says.
Right.
Amy turns the beam of her phone on you, shines it in your eyes.
And the great thing is,
She says.
he doesn't try to have sex with my friends.
Heat prickles across your scalp like 1,000 spiders. Your brain serves you up memories of that hot November night, the dance floor, how happy you'd been feeling before the incident occurred.
Amy,
You say.
he'd had a few beers. He was just mucking about.
Kat, he stuck his hand up Luella's dress.
The trip home in the cab, the hipster's hot denial.
Luella's a shocking flirt. We all know that.
You say. Amy is still shining the phone into your eyes. You feel like you're in a 1940s film noir interrogation scene.
Kat,
She says, slowly and deliberately, like you're new to English.
it was her wedding.
You don't want to think about that night, but your mind is determined to haul you back into the cab on the way home from the wedding. He was furious, pulling at a thread on the cuff of his shirt.
You're paranoid, Kat. Anyway, I don't even find her attractive.
He'd said.
Sorry.
You'd said to him.
Sorry.
You push Amy's phone away from your face, striding towards the back of the house. You'd only gone 3 steps when you collide with a huge cobweb. The hipster didn't speak to you for days after the wedding.
But you'd go back to him in a heartbeat, wouldn't you, Kat? You'd go back to him tomorrow,
says Amy from behind you. You flail at the cobweb which has wrapped itself around you.
Probably, Amy, I would.
You hiss, frantically brushing your finger through your hair.
Then we'd be inside and he'd be out here fixing the light.
But Amy isn't listening. She's pointing like a Springer Spaniel.
There,
says Amy.
there.
You follow her finger and there it is. The fuse box. It's like discovering the opening to Tutankhamun's tomb. You lift the box's heavy steel door upward, flick the switch, and light pours from the house into the backyard where you stand. All is forgiven between you and Amy. You push the hipster's behaviour at Luella's wedding back into the dusty far reaches of your brain. Elated by the successful end to your difficult and dangerous quest, you high-five. You are warrior women. You do not need men to shepherd you through life. You are independent, courageous and autonomous. When you get back with the hipster and he's apologised for previous misdemeanours, you'll be able to tell him about this victory. You run confidently through the well-lit backyard and burst into the house. The boys are sitting in the same position on the couch with the addition of a couple of cans of Coke.
Hey, Amy.
Says Manvir, not looking up from his phone.
You found the fuse box.
There is a pause.
Yes,
says Amy.
no thanks to you.
Amy's warrior woman is leaving the building. Disappointed, angry girlfriend is resurfacing.
Well, I was ringing the owner.
Says Manvir. Another pause in which Amy stares fixedly at Manvir.
It was very scary, Manvir.
She says.
Oh, didn't you take the headlamps?
Says Manvir, still looking at Kyle's phone. Amy exhales theatrically.
I was freezing, Manvir, and the yard was full of venomous spiders.
Me too. I went too. Also, a minute ago the spiders were harmless.
Well, you offered.
Says Manvir. Perhaps he thinks Amy will say,
Oh yes, I did too. Well, that's all right then.
She doesn't. Manvir is now trying to focus on Amy, but his eyes keep straying towards the phone held by Kyle.
When somebody says I'll go, they generally mean could you please go?
Says Amy.
I think that's right.
Ventures Kyle.
My last girlfriend left me because she said I had zero sensitivity and took everything literally. I didn't think that was true. I don't have zero sensitivity.
Man, she wasn't your last girlfriend. She was your only girlfriend.
Says Manvir. Kyle clips him over the head. You now want nothing more than to lie on your monk bed eating chips and reading your book. Manvir's phone rings.
Hi.
He says.
No, it's all good.
He gives the group an optimistic thumbs up.
We found the fuse box. Right. Yes. Probably the rain. Thanks again.
He hangs up, smiles at Amy.
We found the fuse box?
Says Amy.
Who's we?
His smile fades.
Well, I just meant the generic we.
Says Manvir.
For the purposes of the conversation, she didn't need details on precisely who, just that it had been resolved.
Amy gives you a, can you believe I'm having this conversation look?
Anyway?
Says Manvir, trying gamely to bring the conversation to an optimistic end.
It's back on, so that's good.
It didn't come back on by magic.
Says Amy, a precursive wobble appearing in her voice. Oh God, why did you agree to go away with Amy and her IT department? You berate yourself for not demanding clarity on who was coming.
Just a few of Manvir's friends from work.
Amy had said breezily, invoking a vision of a convertible full of carefree 30-somethings on their way to long, boozy lunches in wineries. You're pretty sure the IT guys don't drink, do ride motorised skateboards, and do spend every other waking minute either running or talking about it. You are deeply dispirited. Amy is now standing, arms crossed, staring at Manvir across the room. Manvir's eyes are still flickering back and forth like a nervous border collie between her and Kyle's phone. She looks angry, he looks mystified. You recognise your own behaviour in Amy with blinding clarity. The oblique statements, the desperate desire that you will get what you want without having to go through the indignity of asking. The disbelief that your emotional state is not being transmitted or received on some magical wavelength of understanding.
So,
You venture,
I guess we'll think about dinner.
No, we won't.
says Amy. Zero sensitivity Kyle realises there is mounting tension in the room and wrests his attention away from his phone.
We could go into town.
He says,
Save you cooking.
Save us cooking? Why are we cooking?
says Amy tightly. Kyle moves and stands behind Manvir,
Kyle, that's sexist. Why should the girls cook?
says Manvir.
Kyle and I will cook dinner. We'll barbecue the meat we bought.
I'm vegetarian, Manvir.
Says Amy,
I thought maybe you'd take a break, have a sausage.
says Manvir. Come on, Manvir, you think. You're careering towards the precipice. Veer right, veer left, just for God's sake, veer. Amy walks towards the door.
After we've risked our lives in the venomous spider-infested backyard, you're now going to make me eat a sausage?
She says, at least you're included in the narrative this time, but you note the growth of the spider's role. If Amy repeats the story again, you will have done hand-to-hand combat with arachnids the size of dogs,
No,
says Manvir.
I just didn't know if you were full or part-time vegetarian.
Amy opens the door.
Cat and I might just go then.
Your scalp begins to sweat,
Go where?
says Manvir.
Home.
Says Amy with dangerous finality. Oh, Lord, you think. It's a 4-hour drive. You just got here. It's dark. Amy will probably want to cry, which means her eyes will swell and you'll have to drive. Amy, on cue, starts to cry. This seems to alert Manvir that the situation has become tricky. He's across the room like he's in the last 10 metres of the Sydney Marathon.
Babe.
He says, wrapping Amy in his long, gangly arms.
Sorry, babe.
Amy is now gushing tears like a geyser.
It's not that I minded going to the fuse box. It's just that you should have at least offered to go so that I could have said, no, I'll go. I mean, I'm a feminist and everything, but you took me for granted and you should have checked and thanked me.
Amy babbles.
Sorry, babe, I'm an idiot.
In the 13 months, 2 weeks and 6 days you were together, you can never remember the hipster apologising, not once. After the recently verified inappropriate touching of the bride incident, you had stood in the doorway of your bedroom holding the cat.
I saw you.
You'd said,
And so did the groom. They'd only been married an hour. You're lucky he didn't hit you.
That groom was a pudgy, unfit baby, so good luck with hitting me.
He'd said. You shook your head.
And the point is nothing happened, and you need help.
He'd then told you. You'd begun to sob out of sheer blinding frustration.
I'm sorry, Caddy. I refuse to be manipulated by meaningless shows of emotion.
He'd said, taking the car keys off the hall table and heading out the door.
Those are my keys.
You'd said, wiping your nose on the back of your hand. He'd closed the door behind him. So Manvir may be slow off the mark and not awash with charm, but at least he apologises. Between Manvir and Amy, the apologising and repeating of the offence goes on interminably, until eventually she relents, allows him to wipe mascara from under her eyes, takes her by the hand and leads her upstairs, presumably to the cavernous queen-size bedroom. You're now standing there in the doorway, with Kyle.
I think he means a flexitarian.
He says.
I'm sorry?
You say.
Manvir said he thought Amy was a part-time vegetarian. Part-time vegetarian is a flexitarian.
The 4-hour drive home is looking preferable to standing here talking to Kyle. A noise on the veranda. The door opens behind you. A male is backing in, dragging his suitcase. You see his jeaned legs and feet first. The bottoms of his jeans are tucked into his socks.
Hey, Michael!
Says Kyle.
Where you been, mate? You missed all the action. There was a blackout.
Michael finishes backing into the room and shuts the door behind him. He remains bent over, taking his scarf off and folding it neatly into his bag.
Cold out there.
He says. The last time he saw you, you were climbing over a balcony. You wonder if he'll remember. He stands up and sees you.
Hey, balcony girl?
He says. He remembers. You're unsure whether to feel humiliated or flattered. You go for flattered.
Hi, sock boy.
He looks down at his feet.
Balcony girl?
Says Kyle.
Does she use your front door?
Last time I saw her, she was leaving over a balcony.
says Michael, taking his jacket off.
No.
Says Kyle, backing away like you're radioactive.
No, she's never used my front door or balcony door. Well, I don't have a balcony, but still, or in fact, any door in my house. We've just met.
You're not interested in him, but you find the rejection from zero sensitivity one girlfriend Kyle dispiriting. You can't be sure, but you think a fleeting look of satisfaction crosses Michael's face.
Amy and I sorted the blackout.
You say, like a 6-year-old doing show and tell.
Went out in the spider-infested yard in the pitch black and found the fuse box.
Wow,
Says Michael, touching you lightly on the shoulder.
that's impressive. It's freezing out there and dark.
You look up at him. Now that's the response you and Amy were after. He moves past you into the kitchen. You watch him unpack a bag of groceries. He appears to have brought soup. A strange and long-lost feeling arises in you. A warmth, travelling up through your chest and suffusing your face like a blush without the redness. You put your hand to the shoulder where he touched you and look back into the kitchen where he's unpacking things from his recycled shopping bag. There is a certain quality to him. He's not waiting on a response. His compliment is not part of the bargaining agreement. You don't have to reciprocate. You look around the lounge room. The gas fire is on. The room looks inviting.
We're running at 5.
Carl says to Michael.
Manveer brought the headlamps.
Okay.
Says Michael.
You coming, balcony girl?
You had packed your most flattering pair of leggings in case exercise was part of the fun-packed weekend's agenda, but running was still running, and you couldn't see yourself romping through the freezing pre-dawn with a headlamp strapped to your forehead.
I'm happy to do the croissant run.
You say. Michael turns around, smiles. For an IT guy, his teeth are good. He's almost handsome. You wonder if he's bought a Fair Isle jumper with him. Maybe tomorrow you can go out and kick some autumn leaves around. Stop thinking everyone should think like you. Start realising they don't and work with that. There's a saying, the single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has occurred. How often do you find yourself in an argument with someone and you say, "But you must have known what I meant. How could you not have understood?" And they look completely perplexed, like you're speaking a foreign language. For the amount of words that spill from our mouths on a daily basis, our level of miscommunication is impressive. What goes wrong? How can we be in the same conversation but interpret it completely differently? Let me explain theory of mind. In other words, don't assume other people know what you want. Kat sees elements of her own behaviour in Amy's attempts to communicate with and influence Manveer. Amy's first mistake was assuming that Manveer would understand that her offer to go outside wasn't genuine. She was adhering to the well-worn social convention of saying one thing while meaning another and believing that the other person would pick up on the inferred meaning. The intention of a question like, "Would you like us to collect some wood for the fire while we're at it?" is perfectly obvious to Amy, but Manveer completely misses her sarcastic undertone and he takes it literally. And so the trouble starts. To even begin to assess what another person may be thinking or feeling requires you to have a good theory of mind, the capacity to understand that other people have beliefs and perspectives different from your own. Manveer doesn't ignore Amy's hints, rather, he doesn't pick up on them. He may not have a high level of social awareness. People have different levels of social awareness and social fluidity. Don't assume you know what's going on for people or that they know what's going on for you. Being socially aware, having a high emotional quotient, EQ, means being able to pick up both obvious shows of emotion and the smaller, less obvious expressions that cross the face. People with social acuity, like Kat, make no conscious effort to pick up large and small expressions. For her, this extreme sensitivity to other people's emotional state is automatic. As we've learned, sometimes her assessment of that emotional state is accurate and sometimes it's not. But regardless of the accuracy of her interpretation, she always notices. People with a low EQ, like Manveer, might miss emotional states entirely unless they are very obvious, like crying. It is also difficult for Manveer to pick up sarcasm and inferential comments in speech. Taking a circuitous route with him in situations may backfire. Here, Manveer missed all the signals, verbal and facial, that Amy sent out, and he didn't realise that she was distressed until she cried. That doesn't make him uncaring or selfish, he just needs a more direct style. Amy was so involved in her own thoughts and feelings that she expected Manveer to divine what was going on for her. Expecting someone like Manveer to mind read isn't just a mistake, it's a recipe for disaster. Yes, people, it's the spotlight effect again. If you're very upset about something, it's natural to assume that the other person will know what's going on for you without your having to expressly say it. It's the spotlight effect at play again. Because we are so central to our own worlds, so acutely aware of our own thoughts and feelings, we assume others are too. We assume they are noticing and judging us. People do notice and judge, of course. It's the degree to which they do that's the point. In Chapter 7, when Kat was at the party, and in Chapter 8, when she was at the networking event, she mistakenly felt more observed than she actually was. She sees the same phenomena operating in Amy, who's so exquisitely involved in her own feelings that it seems impossible for her to comprehend that Manveer isn't aware of them too. Everybody is self-involved and way too busy thinking their own thoughts and feeling their own feelings to be bothered about you. So the two principles of the spotlight effect and theory of mind combine to create some pretty difficult communication issues, especially in intimate relationships. If someone in the relationship has a reduced level of sensitivity around picking up emotions, while the other person is under the misconception that their emotional reality is being clearly broadcast, the potential for drama is massive. So back to Kat. Her old friend Avoidance is in attendance. Okay, so you might be asking, why is Kat such a pushover? Also, why do other people's behaviours seem easy to judge from the outside, yet our own behaviour is difficult to assess? As Stephen Novella says in Your Deceptive Mind, we are mysteries to ourselves. We have to return to the basic principle that we are all irrational, that some of our feelings can lead us astray, and our frontal lobe spend a lot of time justifying decisions made in our limbic systems. Like all people who have trouble standing up for themselves, it's easy to look from the outside and think, for the love of Mike, Kat, just stand up for yourself. As per so many instances in this story, her limbic system has been making decisions for her, and her frontal lobe has been busy coming up with some pretty reasonable-sounding post-rationalizations. But remember, that's all they are. Kat will have 1,000 reasons for not asking who exactly is coming to the weekend away, whether there's a better bedroom, and why she and Amy are the ones going into the spider-infested yard. She might think, why make a fuss? It's easier to go with the flow. Just accept the situation. I'm lucky to be invited. I don't want to be seen as high maintenance. These perfectly reasonable-sounding thoughts will be justifying an emotional reaction to the situation. Being in an environment with potential drama feels unsafe. It feels better, more familiar to be compliant and avoid making waves. To Kat, pushing back, taking a stand, setting a boundary and holding her ground would feel unsettling, impolite, not nice, perhaps even dangerous. So she continually suppresses her own feelings, doesn't clarify who else is coming, internalises her discomfort with her room, and resentfully agrees to go outside. Amy, on the other hand, takes advantage of Kat's tendencies and is controlling and impatient. We post-rationalise decisions that we make subconsciously. We do this all the time. In Chapter 8, we learned how Kat's tendency to operate out of a low-status bias stymies her attempts to have her proposals signed off. In this chapter, Kat automatically drops into low status around Amy and the boys. She might not like the result of it, but staying low status feels right. At the beginning of her story, on the day the hipster left, Kat held her ground about not wanting to eat vegan cheese. It's a small thing when you're observing from the outside, but the result was disastrous to her. The hipster left. So from her perspective, which isn't particularly rational, holding the line about the vegan cheese caused more trouble than it was worth. Remember also our issues with memory. Emotionally charged events have a greater impact on our brains. We store them better and we have easier access to them than other memories. The hipster leaving was undoubtedly an emotionally charged event for Kat. Confirmation bias, again. Kat, still smarting from the hipster leaving, is now using confirmation bias to confirm that pushing back or holding your ground always goes badly. This is the problem with confirmation bias. It narrows your thinking. Instead of looking at all the dynamics in a relationship, which should have alerted Kat that it was not a healthy place for her to be, she allows her thinking to be hijacked. Whereas if, in fact, she were to use critical thinking, she might actually uncover some instances when holding her ground would be productive. The positive thing about the encounter between Amy and Manveer is that it alerted Kat to her own indirectness. We can often see behaviour in others that we are blind to in ourselves. While observing Amy trying to get Manveer to go outside without directly asking him, Kat remembers she rarely said anything direct to the hipster. She realises she was engaged in a 13-month mime show. Her reasons for not being direct with the hipster are complicated, with one driving factor being that she was fearful of him. Of course, it suited the hipster to keep Kat quiet and compliant. He could then encourage her to be direct and freeze her out when she was. This is classic gaslighting, giving someone mixed messages, then punishing them when they get it wrong, which of course they will. Kat is beginning to develop some critical thinking skills. She's starting to understand that if she'd managed to be more direct with the hipster earlier on, she may not have wasted so much time in a pointless and damaging relationship. Hello again, heuristics. Kat also uses a mental shortcut in this chapter, a heuristic that puts all guys from IT in the same bucket. Her subconscious had a bit of a look through the filing cabinet, pulled out the file called Socially Awkward IT Consultants, blew off the dust and settled back for a nice cup of tea. No further thinking required. Through TV shows like The Big Bang Theory and the IT Crowd, we've been exposed to the stereotype of the intellectually bright but socially awkward men of the IT and science worlds. So, the weekend wasn't going so well. Kat's preconceptions about the way men who work in IT are likely to behave were confirmed as soon as she walked in the door. And though it might seem that the boys behaved true to form, how much did confirmation bias, avoidance, and a lack of understanding of other people's communication styles contribute to the drama? As with all stereotyping, there is often some truth to the cliché, and it's good to be aware of different capacities for social awareness so as to adapt your style of communication. However, assuming all men in IT or engineering or science are going to be socially awkward is unhelpful. Getting smarter. People aren't mind readers. The combination of the spotlight effect and the differing levels of theory of mind people possess means we spend a big chunk of our lives thinking other people know what's going on for us and what we want, when the truth is often that they don't. It's easier to look at the other person and conclude that their behaviour is disappointing than to consider that the conflict has something to do with us. Of course, other people can often be difficult, obtuse, or just outright mean. That doesn't mean we also shouldn't work out what our contribution is to any drama. Easier said than done. Get your thoughts straight. See what you believe. Try to be aware of when you're using your own filter to make a decision about who someone is. Watch if your brain is engaged in confirmation bias. This means you will only see the aspects of the person that confirm your stereotype and discount aspects that don't. Tell it like it is. Watch for times when you assume the other person comprehends what's going on for you or is accurately interpreting what you're saying. This is especially important if you know the person is not good at picking up subtle signals. Drop the subtlety. Be direct. Partial to postponement. Are you avoiding something like a task, a decision, or a difficult conversation, then kidding yourself with a realistic-sounding post-rationalisation? Do the thing instead. See if you feel better. End of Chapter 9. Thanks for tuning in to Why Smart Women with me, Annie McCubbin. I hope today's episode has ignited your curiosity and left you feeling inspired by my anti-motivational style. Join me next time as we continue to unravel the fascinating layers of our brains and develop ways to sort out the fact from the fiction and the over 6,000 thoughts we have in the course of every day. Remember, intelligence isn't enough. You can be as smart as paint, but it's not just about what you know, it's about how you think. And in all this talk of whether or not you can trust your gut, if you ever feel unsafe, whether it's in the street, at work, in a car park, in a bar, or in your own home, please respect that gut feeling. Staying safe needs to be our primary objective. We can build better lives, but we have to stay safe to do that. And don't forget to subscribe, rate and review the podcast and share it with your fellow smart women and allies. Together, we're hopefully reshaping the narrative around women and making better decisions. So until next time, stay sharp, stay savvy, and keep your critical thinking hat shiny. This is Annie McCubbin signing off from Why Smart Women. See you later. This episode was produced by Harrison Hess. It was executive produced and written by me, Annie McCubbin.